Hey, I'm JHines, and today I'm here to talk to you about the history of higher education and the impact that it will have in the future. They say history repeats itself, but in some cases within the history of higher education, I truly hope we don't repeat history. Um, Today, what I'm going to focus on is how we expect higher education, or how I expect higher education to change in the future in regards to our institutions, how we interact and relate to our students, as well as our faculty. Um, you know, in the beginning, colleges and institutions, we were serving students to help them gain a better place in society. In the beginning, it was typically for students or kids from very affluent, wealthy families. As higher education progressed, it became a venue for students coming from more modest families to try to get ahead in life. And not much of that has changed. We do have a lot of Ivy League institutions or institutions that have strong family ties. Great granddad graduated from Yale, and our family has always contributed financially to the institution. So, of course, that's where I'm going to go. I mean, there are students who face um, I wouldn't say challenges, but sometimes that could be a challenge, but who face instances like that where they really don't have a choice of what institution they're going to because that's the family institution. Um, in the past, colleges and institutions operated as a business, and I expect that to continue to evolve as we move along in the future. I do see colleges continuing to operate as a business. I mean, we have to maintain fiscal responsibility. But where I see the change in the future is that we will also begin to look at our students as our customers. Some institutions are very progressive and are already doing that, but I do not believe that a majority of our higher education institutions view our students as our customers. Um, and our students, our customers, they're looking for more. They don't want to just attend college and, sit in a classroom, receive information, um, take a test, write an essay. They're wanting more. The students are graduating with such high levels of debt that they want the bang for their buck, so to say. Students are looking for results. They're, well, like I said, they're paying these high tuitions or taking out huge student loan debt, and they're graduating and they're not making enough money to even start their families. In the past, if you attended college, you graduate and you're able to get a nice paying job. Especially here in Nashville, if our students are graduating, they can't afford to live in Nashville. The cost of living is high, and to be honest, the jobs just aren't paying enough to cover the cost of living for a student who's recently graduated from college. So students are looking for our higher education institutions to not only give them an education, but give them the tools and skills that they need to provide for a family, to live on their own, to just live. So they're looking to us not only to give them the education, but to prepare them to go into the workforce and to help them break into that market. We shouldn't just give them a degree. We should have the tools and resources needed to help them begin their careers. And I see higher education moving more in that direction now. And I believe in 5 years, that's just going to be a part of the student life cycle. Um, I also believe that we will continue to work to close equity gaps. Here in Tennessee, all of our higher education institutions within community colleges, we are all a part of Achieving the Dream. And with my institution, our main focus is equity. Just because student A um, they scored a 26 on the ACT, student B might have scored a 15 on the ACT. But guess what? Sometimes they're in the same class. So how do we close the gap between those students where, of course, student A will skyrocket, but how can we get student B to that same level? How we have to provide more resources, not only inside the classroom, but outside of the classroom as well. Um, so where I see higher education moving to the future, whereas in the past there was definitely segregation within classes, within and I mean class within the level of wealth within your family. There was segregation within races, segregation even between men and women. Um, we're closing those gaps. Everyone, college should be a melting pot, and we will continue to be that force for our students. Um, where yes, we have to meet students where they are, of course, but what are we doing when we meet them? We all know that sometimes students don't come fully prepared for higher education, for college. We know that. We can't continue to gripe about it. In the future, I see that we will continue to give those students those outside resources. Students can't learn because they're hungry. More higher education institutions will have things such as a campus food pantry. They will have social services. We will have um, community resources, things that if we can alleviate the stresses that are outside of the classroom, the students will be able to focus more inside the classroom. And I see that just growing as we move ahead within higher education. We, as far as faculty goes, we are definitely far removed from the days of faculty not being respected on college campuses and in the community. Um, in the beginning, in the early days of higher education, a faculty member, a faculty member's salary wasn't enough to even support a family. Now that has definitely changed. I foresee faculty members becoming more innovative in the future. And when I say innovative, I don't mean just bringing more technology in the classroom. I'm talking about um, just doing something different to achieve greater results. I've seen faculty members this semester really think outside the box to increase class participation, to help students become more engaged in the classroom, to help students see why math is an important subject for a psychology major, or why art appreciation is is an important class for a computer science major. So I foresee faculty members continuing to be innovative and to bring more energy into the classroom. We have so moved beyond the days of a faculty member just standing in front of the classroom, lecturing for an hour and 30 minutes twice a week. We're past that. Students don't want that. The institutions don't want that. It's not helping the students, it's not helping the institution, and it's definitely not helping the faculty members. Um, I also foresee faculty members also bringing in technology. Um, we will see more online classes. I also foresee higher education moving past just your typical online classes. We have virtual reality glasses. I believe we will have virtual reality classrooms. Um, and quite frankly, our public institutions have to be the leaders in this. We can't afford to allow proprietary institutions to lead us in this endeavor. They beat us to the punch with online classes and distance education. We can't allow them to do that again. So we, as an institution, we have to continue to just think outside the box. Students want online classes for the flexibility, but they also need that interaction with their faculty member, with their instructors. I also see institutions listening to the industries. As we are preparing students to enter these industries, we have to know what the industry wants. Do they want student? What skills do they want? We're probably teaching students on criteria that was necessary 5 years ago. It's changed. So, what does the industry want now? We have to stay on top of that. We have to stay within communication with our industry leaders so we can ensure that we're graduating students who are ready to walk in that door and begin their careers. We have to have technology that reflects what's current. Like I said before, we can no longer afford to allow proprietary institutions to take the lead on this. We have to be the leaders. Our students need it. They can't afford to go to those schools. They can't afford to graduate with that level of debt. So we have to continue to meet them where they are in that area as well. I also um, foresee institutions continuing to not institutions. I foresee states to continue to watch and see how Tennessee is doing with our Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect programs. And I believe we'll see more of those programs throughout the country. Um, Students can't afford college, so I believe that we will continue to see states adopt programs such as Tennessee Promise for high school students and Tennessee Reconnect for adult learners. We just cannot forget our adult learners. Um, with the industries looking for employees like yesterday, I foresee higher education providing more short term programs, more certificates, stackable credits, or stackable credentials, because for industries that have very high demand, they need they need a pipeline. So I believe that we will continue to provide those graduates to go into the workforce. I'm excited. This class has just reinvigorated my excitement for higher education. It's made me think outside the box as an administrator. It has forced me to face uncomfortable truths. There are some things about higher education that I just was not aware of. Um, we don't have just a very pretty background. We have gone through some turbulent times, but you know what? We always bounce back. And I believe right now we are on the cusp of just blowing higher education out of the water. Um, Higher education isn't for everyone, but for those students who want to achieve a degree, who want to provide for their families, I know that we are providing them with the resources that they need to make a difference in the world, because that's what we're here for. We're preparing students to change the world, and that's what higher education will continue to do. Thank you.